Well, hello there, and welcome to another episode of The Malik Show. I am your host, Malik Shabazz Sullivan. I am so glad that you have came and see about me on tonight. Well, tonight, no hot topics, surprisingly, but we got a spectacular show for you tonight. We have one of DMV's own, the one and only Pastor Marques D. Neal. And we also got a live audience with us on tonight, so let's give Pastor Neal a hand. Yes, indeedy. Well, Pastor Neal, I'm so glad for you to be on the Malik Show on tonight. Pastor Marques D. Neal is the founder and senior pastor of the innovative and progressive ministry located in Temple Hills, Maryland, the Line of Judah, the Family Center, which was established in April 2004. Pastor Neal has over 25 years of sacrificial service. He is a visionary leader that is anointed to preach and teach the Word of God with simplicity and vigor. Pastor Neal is a highly sought-after preacher, speaker, seminar moderator, author, and is recognized nationally and internationally for his unique ability to equip men and women and youth for leadership and the work of the Lord. He has touched many lives, and his passion to see men restored, women uplifted, and his gifts in ministry allows him to mend, destroy, exchange, and broken families back together. He has a heart for outreach, and you will oftentimes hear him say, it's not what's in these four walls, which is the church. What matters is we are here to get equipped to go out and reach those that no one else will be bothered to reach and love on them as Christ loved us. Pastor Neal has appeared on The Greg Davis Show, The Word Network, The Impact Network, and The Lady O Show. He attended the Bible Seminary at the Howard University, Bible Catechism training at the Bible Way Temple, the Washington Bible Seminary, and the University of Phoenix. He is the author of How to Make the Ships Work, as in friendships and relationships, tools for a successful journey. Pastor Neal is married to his one and only wife, co-pastor Lisa, and is the proud father of 5 anointed children, Donovan, Michael, Princess, Marques II, and Sydney II, and the grandfather of one adorable granddaughter, Harmony. That's such a nice name. He is a strong believer that charity begins at home and is avid advocate of family values. Ain't that a bio? But let's move on to our first. He said something about this, but we're going to go on and show it. Go ahead, producer. Roll. Oh, there we go. So we are going to go all the way back to the beginning. So Pastor Neal, let's talk about your childhood, as in, and I always tell my guests, who are they and what have your plans in life been? So Pastor Neal, my first thing is, let's talk about your childhood. Where were you born and all that kind of stuff?
Well, first let me start off by saying thank you, Malik, for having me to be a part of this show. I appreciate you,
Awesome.
man. I'm telling you, you are amazing, and I appreciate you allowing me to come and share on tonight. I'm actually going to get you for that picture you just put up, that first picture.
I think that's a nice picture, but if you, hey, I think it's nice.
Yeah, I grew up in an apostolic family, Pentecostal. My father has been pastoring coming up, actually on this year, it's coming up on 50 years of pastoring. So I grew up in an apostolic family, have 3 sisters and a brother. And actually, you know, when you're growing up in that type of environment, you already know that everything is about church. It's always going to be church.
Here's a question, because as I look at that picture, when I look at that picture, I say, oh, he's up to something, Jesus. Was you up to something as a child?
No. Actually, I was.
Was you good?
I was mischievous. I will say that.
Okay.
I was the one that would try certain things.
Okay.
Because I was the baby. You know, I'm the baby. So, you know, the babies kind of get away.
How many children mother and father had?
It's 5 of us, 3 girls and 1 boy.
Okay.
So I'm the baby.
Okay. There we go. So that right there is you and your mother.
Yes, we're actually on our way to a convention church service. So my dad is driving and I'm in the back seat with my mom, and so I'm having one of those moments, son mother moment. So I say, hey mom, let's take
Let's
a
take a
selfie.
selfie.
Yeah, so we take
Let's
a
take a
selfie.
selfie.
We take a selfie, and I posted on my Facebook page. And I love my mother. The amazing story behind this whole thing with my mom is that my mother was actually never to expect children. The doctor told her she could never conceive. And when she was dating my dad, she told my dad this because my dad asked her to marry him. And she told him, before we get married, just know that I can't have children. And he said, that's what the doctors say. You know how it's Pentecostals, you know how we go.
Yeah.
He said, that's what God said. The devil says, or the doctor says, but God got something different.
Now, Pastor Neal, I might say, everybody that knows me personally, I just love a good piece of fashion. I don't care if it's a suit. I don't care if it's speaking of which, you dressed up on tonight.
Well, I knew I was coming.
Well, producer, let's just give the man, we got a nice three-piece suit, got some nice outlet. What kind of shoe? Got some nice shoes.
Stacey Adams, I knew where I was
Come
coming.
on now.
I knew where I was coming.
Well,
I follow you too, so I knew where I was coming.
Oh yeah, in this church we dress. We don't play around. But Pastor Neal, I must say you are a very fashionable person, and
Thank you,
as
sir.
I'm looking at the pictures, as he scrolls along, there's a couple of pictures. Yep, that's sharp too.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
sharp. That blazer sharp. I might need that for St. Louis this year. So, and that's sharp too.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you,
sharp
sir.
too.
Thank you.
What suit? What designer is this?
To be honest, I don't know. I just like to shop. So if I see something, I'm just being honest with you. If I see something I like, I pick it out and I just roll with it.
Okay, let's go to the next one. There's another one. That's sharp. That I guess you don't know what design that is too either.
Really, you terrible, boy.
Next, that's sharp too.
And don't ask, cause I'm telling you, if I'm out, I see something, I like it, I buy it, and I just kind of go from there.
Okay, well, let's stop right here because afterwards, I mean, that right there is sharp. I mean, now that suit is bad too. Now I say that could be for Kojic. We can wear something like that for AIM in July. By you being fashionable, what do you have to say as far as today's society on young brothers such as ourselves and pastors such as yourself, the dress code, the dressing and fashion, and especially in the church in today's time?
I think that we should have the ability and the privy to express ourselves. One of the things I'm learning in this generation, even with my sons, they're totally different than the way I was coming up. So they have their own style, they have their own fashion thing going on. But I think that we should have the right to express ourselves and how we feel. But I also believe that it should be done in moderation of understanding respect for the house of God. And so I do believe that.
Let's talk about this beautiful woman that's right by your side. And we definitely got some pictures to prove it. Now, Pastor Neal, the Bible say when the man findeth the wife, he findeth a good thing. I hope I said that right. So let's talk about you and First Lady Lisa Neal. Let's talk about where did you guys meet and all of that.
I actually met her at my dad's church. I was, at this current time, I'm the basically almost at that time those names wasn't really used like that back then, so I guess you could call me the youth pastor of my dad's church at that time. And so a young lady who was coming to the church invited her to come and be in worship with us that Sunday night, and she came, and I'm gonna be honest, when she walked in the door, I said God must have had me on his mind when she walked in. Look. I'm scheduled to preach that night. So this is Sunday night. I'm scheduled to preach, and she walks in, and I'm just being honest, man. Just clearly took me off of my focus of what I had prepared to minister that night, and just was absolutely gorgeous. And when service was over, because I'm young, I'm just literally like 15 years old, and so I knew that she was a little older than me by the way she carried herself. And so when service was over with, I said to my middle sister, that was like my partner in crime. So I said to my middle sister, I said, hey, I like her style. I said, go get the number for me. And so my sister went over there, mind you now, with a church full of people. Instead of, talking to her in a secret matter, she blurts out loudly, my brother likes you. Yeah, that's what I did. And kind of, as they say, the rest is history after that. We got to talking. And the rest
Well,
is
we
history.
sure got pictures of them history. Let's scroll to the next one. That's nice. Now tell us about that particular outing.
That is actually at a birthday celebration just last year that I was having, turning 41, and they took me out. Her and my family and the church family came out, and we had a dinner together. And when we were getting ready to leave, they had some chairs set out because I love jazz. So they took me to a wonderful restaurant. It was a great setting, had live music, jazz being played, and it just was a wonderful night. And we were leaving. I see these chairs sitting out, and we just sit down and just had a moment, and just to something to reflect on as we continue to grow together, and that's how that picture came about.
Let's talk about this one now. I see. Let me ask you this, Pastor Neal. That's your only daughter, correct?
My only daughter.
And
Only
daughters can be so, so, so special.
Oh my
So
God.
let's talk about that too. So let's
my
talk about this picture of.
So this particular picture, it's doing a banquet of a pastor that's in the area. He was having his church celebration banquet, and we went to support. And after it was all over, everybody was cleaning up. We decided to take a picture, and me and my wife, and as you can see, my daughter who's one of the ones that really try not to let me go nowhere by myself. Every time I move, she's right there. So this particular time, I'm going out to this banquet, and the boys are pretty much like, nah, we good. We just gonna chill at home. And she's like, no, I'm going with you. And so that's how she ends up there. We take this picture, and she's a part of it.
This is what we come down to in this 11-minute hour. Pastor Neal is in the line of service for Jesus. Now, Pastor Neal, let's talk about. I'm sure you at convocation.
Yes.
You at convocation, way
Yes.
across. So, what do you do as far as the Way of the Cross organization?
Licensed as a district elder.
Okay.
Work with the the adjutants, and so just pretty much the service of adjutant dealing with the bishops and the apostles, that thing, and just serving. That's what I love to do.
Serve.
Is serving, and serving. So whatever I can do to serve, and I work in that capacity along with the district elders, and that's just one of those moments as we are preparing for service. We're bringing in the leadership of the church, and I had the honor to bring in one of our vice. And there, somebody took this picture, and there's another moment that I'll cherish for the rest of my life.
Okay. Well, we're going to keep on moving because we're going to get to, yes, we're going to move past that. Now, well, you know what? Now, here is something we can talk about. You have a book out. So I want to talk about the book a little bit, and then there's another segment before we go off tonight that you have became popular on Facebook with this. We're going to get to, that's going to be the very last thing we're going to talk about. But let's talk about the book.
The book, How to Make the Ships Work, Friendships and Relationships, Tools for a Successful Journey, came about after we had $1 million property in Waldorf, and we lost that property. Long story behind that. Lost that property, ended up going homeless for 2 years. When we come out of that, we get a house in Brandywine. I gut the basement out and pick up ministry from there. And there's a couple in the church that's going through at this particular time, and they needed something. And I'm sitting, I'll never forget, I'm sitting on the steps of the basement of my house, and I say to the Lord, give me something to be a help to the ministry that my hands has been assigned to. And sitting on the steps, the Lord says to me just as clear as day, start a series, started teaching on how to make the ships work, friendships and relationships, tools for a successful journey. And I just started teaching, and while I was teaching it, it just grew. People started coming, and this particular Wednesday night, after I had taught it for a while, a gentleman comes up to me and he says, Pastor, have you ever thought about making this a book? And I said, no, it's just a teaching tool. He said, I think you should really consider doing it. And that's how it came about. And so far, it's really been a help and a blessing to a lot of married couples and just a lot of single people at large. And I just think it's a good piece to have if you're looking to really go to the next level in your friendships and relationships. I'll say this, Malik, I tell people all the time, you're one relationship away from a breakdown or a breakthrough.
Ain't that something?
The next person that come into your life either going to break you down or break you through.
Wow. That deserve a hand. Y'all should give y'all bishop a hand. That is awesome. Oh, I'm gonna keep that in mind. You done told something on
He
tonight.
said you done told
You
something.
done told something on the night. That's a message. Well, we still got more to talk. Let's scroll on. We're gonna scroll on, and we're gonna show some just certain pictures. There's you and J.J. Harrison, the one and only.
Yeah, great guy.
Yes,
Great
indeed.
guy.
And there's another great guy behind this picture as well. And y'all taking a car selfie. Go ahead, producer. Now, this man, this is one of my buddies. And every time when I see him, the first thing he always say is, you and that camera, Lord Jesus. But the one and only prophet, Dr. Brian Jefferson Mosley.
Yeah,
Let's talk about y'all. And y'all in the car chilling. So obviously, I mean, what's up? He's saying,
oh my God. Prophet Mosley calls me, and actually he's in town, and I'm doing the show. And at this particular time, I'm dealing with an internet radio station. And so Prophet Mosley's in town. He hears about the show. One of the guys that's on the show is connected to Prophet, and me and Prophet have a relationship. Prophet says, I want to come on the show. He comes on the show, and God is, I mean, Malik, when I tell you, God just absolutely took over that program. And after the show, Prophet calls me, and he says, I want to come into town, and I want to help you. I want to do something to really help your ministry, so let's put together a 3-night revival. And we put together a 3-night revival, and when I tell you, there's no words for how God used Prophet Mosley those 3 nights. And this picture here is me picking him up, got him in the car, taking him to the hotel.
Well, one thing about him, not only he a bad dresser, but he a bad dancer. He just be going. Man, I love it. All right. Well, we got to talk about this. Now, when I see stuff like this, I mean, he didn't hit celebrity. You are on the Word Network. Now, let's talk about the Word Network.
Had the opportunity at this particular time. I'm doing a conference call. I'm doing a conference call every night. I'm living in Brandywine at the time, and every night I'm doing a conference call. And this particular lady that lives in Atlanta gets on the call because she's following me on Facebook. She gets on and she hears it and just really was blessed by it. And they reached out and contacted me, asked me would I want to have the opportunity to share on the Word Network. I accepted, and I didn't know that the show that they asked me to come on was going to be George Bloomer and Rejoice in the Word. And me and Bishop Bloomer have a relationship, and it was just the right timing. It was really the right timing, and God just opened that door for me, and it was just a blessing to have this opportunity.
That does it for us, folks. Thank you so much for watching this first segment of the Malik Show with the one and only Pastor Marques D. Neal. Y'all give y'all pastor a hand.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Come back for part 2. The Line of Judah will bless our souls. We got the musicians here. And Satan not going to have his way on tonight. We're just going to let God have his way. So y'all come back for part 2. Y'all don't want to miss it. I'm your host, Malik Shabazz Sullivan. Until next time.
on today just want to make God happy? Happy with your worship and happy with your praise and happy with your lifestyle on today. Oh, come on and bless his name. For God is the greatest power.